What's up, guys? Sorry about the being late thing. I was on a good streak the last couple times, or maybe the last time. It might have just been the last time, and maybe the last Patreon stream that I was on a good streak. I can't remember. But anyways, it's 9:08, so sorry about that. Another microphone issue. I'm starting to believe that it's not a cable issue. I'm starting to believe that it's an interface issue. And the good thing is I have two of these interfaces. But I have them both on different settings so that I can exchange audio easily between the upper and the lower mic. So we'll see what's going on. But it stopped working on me when I was doing a couple tests leading up to this stream. So anyways, what is up? Happy Thursday night. This is the last Thursday before Christmas. So I hope you guys are having a nice holiday season. Everything's kicking off well for you. I'm not sure everybody's plans. But whether it's friends, family, whatever the case may be, hope you're all doing really, really well. Not enough snow on the ground here, though. I do miss the snow. I'll say that. So tonight we've got a bunch of stuff to get through tonight. We have more than I thought when I planned to do this live stream. So I knew that we would have a couple pours up front, and then I knew that we would have a blind flight. So Matt Porter, ADHD Whiskey, sent me 6 samples. So we got a hefty blind flight here to get through. He emailed answers to Sarah, and Sarah wrote some note cards so I can show you guys along the way what I'm sipping on. And he also gave me kind of a theme to the flight, which is cool. I'm still going to do my usual guesses on everything, but he's given me a theme based on price and having me guess the price or, what I would like to pay for these bottles, essentially. So that's going to be a fun blind flight. The price thing is an interesting one, and it's one that, there can be a lot of criticisms about me or other whiskey tubers, and I know what tends to happen when you watch a whiskey tuber or any reviewer of any product for a long time. You start to learn their idiosyncrasies, then those idiosyncrasies start to annoy you, and you can either get completely jaded by them or you can just poke fun and stay friendly, right? And everything it kind of flexes between those things. And why am I saying this? I'm losing my train of thought on 3 hours of sleep. Right, because I get often criticized, I've seen screenshots of criticisms about me from people, and just things that have been said about how I'm out of touch when it comes to pricing. So I actually think this is going to be a fun blind flight for me as somebody who I know myself. I know that I spend too much money on whiskey willingly because of the channel. And I know I spend more than probably the average person because of the channel. So I'm more apt to spend more money to acquire bottles to then review those bottles. So I think the pricing thing is going to be interesting for the blind flight. However, before we get to that blind flight, not only do we have a couple of pours that I expected to review or just kind of give first impressions of at the beginning of this stream, as you saw in the thumbnail, Stagg 24C we got right here. Eagle Rare 17, which this is a pretty unexpected sample. Expected in the sense that I knew it was coming, but up until recently, I didn't think I would get to try this year. Eagle Rare 17, 2024. What else did I put on the thumbnail? I guess I need to look at the thumbnail. Oh, the Still Austin Tanager and the Pride of Anderson County Rye that Mike C sent me. So I'll thank everybody, once I get to their samples, because most of these samples that I'm going to be reviewing today were sent by Patreon members and friends of the channel, which is really cool. So enough yap, and that's kind of the goal for tonight's stream. Reviews up front, then we'll do this blind flight. The reviews up front are going to be quick. They're going to be first impressions. Try not to drink too much because I've got to drive tomorrow morning up to River Roots, taste through a new lot of 10 barrels they've got there. See if anything is, something that we want to pick from for Drums and Drams. Some 8-year cask strength whiskey. I'm not going to say anything more than that. until those guys want to talk about that themselves. So there we go. Randall says 3 hours of sleep and all these samples tonight could be epic. Dude, I was literally like, so I had to do a bunch of errands today. I did an errand, and then I would come home, and I'd sit on the couch and zombie out for 30 minutes, and then I'd go do another errand. I've just been up and back, like, trying to get myself to, like, restore health level a little bit, and then go back out for more. It's been crazy. But whatever, that's all my own fault. Cheers, guys. My first sip of the night is our recently released Crittenden's pick, which we've been talking about in the Drums and Drams Discord. So cheers. Let me know what you're sipping on this evening. So some folks were talking about this Crittenden's pick that we did, which I think is a very, very fruity pick. Has a lot of good sweets to it. And they were talking that it's kind of developing a little bit of this. Some people have said bitter, some people have said sour, some people have said tannic. I kind of agree with them. I think there's a little sour bite to this, to some of those fruit notes on the back end. And it reminds me a little bit of, I've said this before about this particular pick. It reminds me a little of an older early times mash bill. That 7911 10 mash bill, I believe, is what the proportions are that you get from 1924. Some other products as well have that mash bill. I think King of Kentucky has that mash bill, actually, too. But this gives me kind of like a 7, 8, 9 year profile of that mash bill from Crittenden's. And with that comes a little bit of that bite on the back end is what I'm starting to pick up. Yeah. I definitely see it. One of the more crushable picks that we've done. A little bit of like a powdered sugar donut thing popping out now. So that's kind of the warm-up pour for the evening. One other bottle, by the way. I'm not sure if anybody has seen these yet, because I hadn't. I've seen different chicken cock expressions popping up kind of randomly. It seems like they do a lot of like one-off type things with maybe lower yields or like less distribution. So it's not like you see them flood the market and just sit. I just see them pop up and kind of disappear, and there's a lot of different, variety of these things. So the one I saw today is this Chicken Cock Reserve Cask, and it was like $80, and it's a State of Ohio pick, which is going to be the most hit or miss thing ever. Barrel proof, 131 proof, and 6 years old. So we might taste this. Yeah. We might taste this this evening and just see what this is all about, too. I'm not sure if anybody here is a Patreon member of Bourbon Kingdom, but they just dropped these Green River picks. So I've got these two in. I don't know if I'm going to go through both of them tonight, but one of them was a mega short barrel called the Secret Sauce. It's 135 proof. That's an interesting one that I'm probably going to have to taste this evening. Let me check out in the chat here. By the way, no giveaway tonight, guys. No giveaway this evening. So while I do appreciate your super chats, there's not going to be any. You're not going to be, playing for anything or anything like that this evening. But of course, super chats always appreciated if you want to support the channel that way. Stuart, thank you for jumping in. The YouTube membership. All right, we got Terry in here. Keegan. Who else? Jason. What kind of G word are we getting tonight? No G word tonight. Just got done with tacos. Nice. I actually didn't do tacos tonight. Sean, good to see you, man. Justin. Effing tacos. No F-bombs till 10 p.m., Justin. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling. Good to see everybody. B. Walsh is in here. Sam's in here. I saw Guy as well. All right, Devin just picked up a 2023 William. Oh, my good Lord. Look at this haul, guys. Excited to hear what you think of the Stagg and this year's Eagle Rare 17. All right, well, we're going to get into it. The Eagle Rare 17, I might do off the rip here because of the proof point. What is the Pride of Anderson County? That's 118. So I think we're going to jump right into the Eagle Rare 17, guys. Let's get this poured out. This is just going to be, again, like a preview sip. I'm going to do a full review of this on the channel. So let's get a little bit of air in that glass here. And let me make sure I'm good to go on phone. All right. So, anyways, I want to say thank you to Grant for this sample of Eagle Rare 17. 101 proof. Again, 2024 release. Got to coat the glass with this one. Get the full experience here right out of the gate. Okay. Bourbon Retriever says, didn't know we were getting a 24C this year. Interested in the stats. Yeah, so we'll talk more about it here in a second, but it's 128.9. I didn't know we were getting a C either because the B just dropped. Like, I want to say like a month ago. I mean, I just got that review out when Justin lended me his bottle, and I feel like when he got it, I think that was brand new to market at that point. So it's funny that some of these distribution things with these Stagg batches seem to be just boom, boom, all at once. Oh, God. The nose on this Eagle Rare 17 is ridiculous. Devin, this is... Well, so you said you got a 23 Eagle Rare 17. That was absolutely epic whiskey. Last year's Eagle Rare 17 was crazy good. Wow. Prozac, do you have your Christmas pour picked up? I don't really drink on the holidays anymore, man. To be honest with you, like when I'm with family, I don't really bring whiskey around or anything. I used to do that. I used to like have a mood pour and I would bring a little case of stuff, you know? For some reason, I just haven't been into it. I also think, like, now that the channel's picked up so much and there's so many barrel picks and so much consumption that happens, I take every opportunity I can to not drink. But if I had to have a Christmas pour, I don't know. It'd be something kind of toasty. Not like a toasted barrel, but like a Heaven Hill 17 I'd probably do for Christmas. You know, it's very rich and dark. Barry's hitting the Irish tonight. That Irish pick, man, that's something else, huh? I still can't believe we got that barrel. Chris, so this chicken cock is not from Seal Box. This is an OHLQ Ohio Liquor pick. Oh, I'm way behind on chat. Holy crap. Oh, geez. Super chats. Jason, thank you for the $5 super chat, man. Appreciate it. You guys did. John, boo, no giveaway. Yeah, John, no more giveaways at all, period, unfortunately. With some recent developments in the Patreon, and I just want to keep things above board. So if we ever do any other giveaways, they'll just end up being free giveaways, and we'll figure out how that happens in the future. But for the time being, they're going to be gone, unfortunately. What's up, Caesar? Good to see you, man. Joe with 2,150 entries. That sounds about right. Actually, why don't we double that, Joe? Why don't you get 4,300 entries tonight? Thank you, man. And Justin come on, Justin, you didn't need to do this, dude. For Waffle House and Chick-fil-A tomorrow. You know me too well, bro. Avery, yeah, you're right. Eagle Rare 17 is tonight's warm-up pour instead of Eagle Rare 10. That's a pretty crazy thing to say. All right, so let's talk about this on the nose real quick. This is super dark. I don't want to say dank because it's not like skunky or funky or earthy necessarily, but let's use I'll use the word pungent in a good way. You could just say concentrated, but I don't think that does it justice. It's like so intense and it has an edge to it. You know what I mean? Like it really hits you in the nose with this super sweet and pungent oak. It has a dusty kind of vibe to it, but again, it's not in a savory way. When you start getting those, like from Old Hoffman stuff and like the 60s era, when you get those like asphalt notes, this isn't that category of dusty. This is sweet, rich, dark fruit and berry kind of dusty notes. I mean, it smells to me, this smells way better than Double Eagle Very Rare. It's not even close. Double Eagle is so disappointing, but this smells perfectly balanced with its like grape notes, with its rich kind of plummy blackberry kind of notes, but in a perfumed and pungently sweet oak way. Wow. Oh, man. That's so good. So it's only 101 proof. So you don't expect this to kind of knock your socks off as far as drinking experience. And it doesn't. Like, it's a very medium whiskey kind of all across the board as far as just the way that it drinks. But the flavors are fantastic. I don't feel like it gets too dry, which is something that you're kind of at risk of when you hit 17 years old like this. And some Buffalo Trace, some Buffalo Trace can get that way. Some of it can get dry. Some of it can get grassy. I get none of that on here. This is all just purely sweet, fruity, candied oak notes that are melded together. It's almost like you made some sort of taffy out of sweet oak and all the things that I talked about. It's that thick. It just feels like the whiskey has this kind of, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. This taffy-like quality to it. Man. Justin, thanks again, man, for that super chat. Joe and Jason. And Sam as well says, for the taco fund. Thanks, bro. Jason P says, naughty or nice? Nice. Which one do you have, Jason? Remind me again. James, what's up, dude? I'm right now, I'm on Eagle Rare 17. Steven, $10 super chat says, for a rough last few days. Yeah, it's been an interesting few days, man. Thank you for that. Cheers. Sam, I did that on purpose because you know what gets people to click more is Stagg. Hilariously. It's actually true. Devin sipping on some of the wheat whiskey pick. That's awesome. Good to see you, Rich. Slad, how crafty is it? I hate you, Slad. There's no craftiness to this. That Laffy Taffy, says Chris. It smells great. You know what I want to do? Yeah, let's do it. I need to kind of save on glassware tonight, so I'll do some dumps of things. What I want to do is put the newest Remus Gatsby, 104.9 proof, next to this Eagle Rare because I complained so much about this Gatsby being dry, having a great nose, but being too dry on the palate. So even though it has a slight proof advantage, let's just see what that comparison's like to Eagle Rare 17, because Eagle Rare 17 on secondary is going to run you like $1,400, which is absurd. It's not $1,400 whiskey, not even close. And the Gatsby's going to run you like $250, and it's sitting on shelves. Profiles seemingly somewhat similar to memory. In practice, they're different though. Did I see a question in here? Oh, Jason, when are you updating tasting notes on Tracker for Princess Bard? I don't know, Jason. Whenever I can get around to that. That one, probably in the next week, I'd like to get it done in the next week. But that's not high priority for right now. All right, so comparison-wise here, Gatsby to Eagle Rare 17. Gatsby is, it's oakier for sure. It's like more of a funky, musty oak to it. And it's a little more of that like earthy floral component that you get on really old MGP. So it's not bright earthy floral, but it's dark. This actually I would consider to be like dank. I would use the word dank for this. And I would really separate that out from the Eagle Rare, which is much sweeter oak on it. However, some of the actual like fruit notes between the two, even though they have different qualities to those fruit notes, one being dank, one being super sweet, the fruit notes themselves underneath those adjectives are similar. Like it's those dark, grapey, plummy, blackberry kind of fruit notes between the two. So there is a connection between these two, but the fruits are presented in different ways. It's almost like the difference between like a more fruit forward, like a more fruit-forward wine versus a more oaky wine. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of get these two differences. Like the Eagle Rare is more of like that vanilla-rich American oak profile you might get on a wine, and the Remus Gatsby is maybe a little bit more of a fruit-driven, you know, less new oak on that wine that you're going to get. So just trying to make some comparisons for people out there that might not get to do this side by side, like what exactly I'm trying to get at. Let me taste the Remus again. So good on the front. Dry. Right there. All the moisture's gone. All right. And let's see if the Eagle Rare 17 refreshes my palate after that. Oh, yeah. But it's much more tame on the Eagle Rare. So I think this year's Eagle Rare is really, really good. I'm not somebody that knows all of these different vintages of Eagle Rare 17. I think I've tried 3 different vintages, the best being last year's. And the other vintage that I've tried, I don't remember which one it was. I just know that I've been given it at some point, and I knew the profile, but it may have even been the lower proof version, not at 101. So I'm no expert on Eagle Rare 17. I can say this is delicious whiskey. Even though it's delicate and there's not a lot of fireworks, it's just tasty, and you want to sit and sip on this stuff. So to me, like, knowing the rarity, putting everything into account, I would probably want to pay like $400 tops on this Eagle Rare 17 if I'm being honest. Like, would I be tempted if I saw it at $650 because I know the secondary price? I'd be tempted, but in my head, I'd be like, am I just going to trade that away for something else, you know, at a different trade value? Because I don't think, like, the pricing of this is just based on rarity. It's not based on quality of whiskey. Whereas I feel like this year's George T. Stagg, which is dropping in secondary price, quality has gone up. We're starting to get closer to realism between secondary values and quality of George T. Stagg as those things start to push together. Eagle Rare 17 is still way out to lunch, and so is Sazerac 18, no matter what year. It's not $1,800 whiskey or whatever people want for it. So this is really good. I can't wait to do a full review and kind of dive in more specifically, but I'm so glad to get this sample. So thank you, Grant, for sending that my way. Toshi got the Gatsby for $190 at Costco. That's a great price for it, man. As far as that goes, that's as good as you're ever going to find it, probably. Daniel says we're all buying the Bard Princess, whatever the notes are. I'm so interested to see how that thing sells, like, within the Patreon. I know it's going to sell out if it goes public. I'm not worried about that, but I don't know if there's going to be like 30 people that buy them in the Patreon, or if they're just going to like completely sell out on the Patreon. I could see it going both ways. It's just so much money, you know? Zach, I'm with you, man. Like, imagine if they made standard Eagle Rare 101. That would be a game changer, I feel like. And listen, I'd pay $10 more for that too. I'd have no issue paying a little more for that, because it's such a Eagle Rare is delicious. I don't care if people say it's overhyped and it shouldn't be stood in line for. I agree, it shouldn't be stood in line for, but it's a good whiskey, you know? Mike, thank you for the super chat, man. For your Drums and Drams website development fund, thanks for your transparency. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this all goes moving forward. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, just some Patreon stuff going on. So we don't need to bog this stream down by talking about it, but Daniel, I'll take the rest before it goes public. That's funny. Noah recently found Ransom 16-year. I've heard of this. Distilled in Indiana and aged in Oregon. I didn't know it was actually distilled in Indiana. I didn't know where it was out of either. I just remember seeing a label for this, or maybe a social media post. Noah, where did you find this and how much did it run you? That sounds basically like Rebecca Creek 16, which was amazing stuff. And I always wondered if there were more barrels of that floating around, like 15, 16-year MGP at those high proofs. Deadhead, what's your bourbon of the year right now? And if the answer is Russell's 15, what else would it be? Yeah, I mean, listen, that's up there in the conversation. Old Fitz, VVS is in the conversation. GTS 24 is in the conversation. These are all batch products. I've had amazing single barrels this year, but those aren't going to be included in the same conversation. Limestone Farms 115 proof private stock. That particular batch I thought was worthy of being in the top whiskeys of the year. Yeah, there's a few of them. I'm gonna kind of tally things up here soon, figure it out. I'm not gonna do some big taste off and try to determine it. It's gonna be really opinion based for me, but that's what it would be anyways. I think a lot of those taste offs for me, when you're dealing with vastly different profiles, at that point, it just becomes opinion based anyways. And I don't know what I have in sample bottles and what I have full bottles of to spend time with or not. So I'll kind of give like my rundown in a video at some point, but it's not going to be some big codified thing because I said this year I was going to commit to keeping track throughout the year of scores and, you know, what I thought. And of course we started doing barrel picks this year, and then the channel kind of took off a little bit, and I've just been like holding on for dear life as it's been, you know, bringing me around or whatever. So yeah, I think it's going to be easy for me to come up with like a top 10 or 12 for the year though. All right, I'm scrolling down, guys. Holy shit, Noah, it's in Oregon for 120 SRP. Are you serious? Do you know what the mash bill is of that? You said distilled in Indiana. Is it American whiskey? Is that why it's so cheap? Is it light whiskey or American whiskey? Avery, if I could include my own single barrels, that rye would probably be in my top, like a list of single barrels of the year. That would be in the list, 100%. Guys, let's move on now. Speaking of single barrels, let's go to this Pride of Anderson County. This is from Mike C. Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna give this one a fresh glass. Do about half an ounce or so of this. And this is 10-year, 4-month Turkey rye at 118.52 proof. Joe, don't spoil the E.H. Taylor barrel proof rye. Don't spoil my opinion on that. I purposefully am not talking about it tonight because I just want to release a video. Noah says it's bourbon. So how available is that, Noah? Out in Oregon. How available and what do I got to do to to get one of these bad boys? That sounds crazy. That price, if that's 16-year MGP bourbon at 125 proof, that price is almost unbelievable, actually. Devin, have you reviewed or had Arctic Spirit yet? Yeah, I've had it. I'm not going to review it. There's a lot of stuff like that. That's not really a barrel pick. That's an Evernorth release, but I'm not really like reviewing, like doing official reviews of Friends barrel picks. Like I'm going to taste some Friends barrel picks tonight in this stream, actually. But I'm not going to like critique them or anything like that. I don't think that's productive. But Arctic Spirit, not totally my thing because heavy finish, you know, and I think as I sip it, it evolves. You get this Welch's grape juice that someone was telling me about. I keyed into that. I can't remember who said that, so I'm sorry that I'm forgetting. We talked about it the other day, though. And maybe, it was Matt Porter, I think, actually said that. It's not my cup of tea style-wise, so I'm not going to critique it because it wouldn't be fair. Yeah, and Avery, exactly right. I know I opened that can of worms. Same name, Dibs. You guys are hilarious. All right, so let's go on to this. Now, this Pride of Anderson County was like $600 or something. Like, it was really, really high price. And I know that, like, getting these barrels from Turkey is very much a one-off kind of thing that that they're doing when they get these and they bottle them. It was like two bourbons and a rye, I think, this year that they did. One of the bourbons was 14. The other was, I want to say it was 11. It was something in that range, 10 or 11. And then there's this rye here, which is 10 years, 4 months. I know it's not cheap, but when you smell this whiskey, in my head, I'm not a turkey collector. There's no way, to me, this is a $600 whiskey on the nose. That said, I'm not saying it's a bad nose. It smells good. It has that kind of quintessential turkey, like almost lemon meringue quality that I get on some of their ryes. They have that sweeter, more. Yeah, I mean, the last time I had a lemon meringue pie like at some diner in Pennsylvania, the Summit Diner. That's the last time I had it. That was probably about 10 years ago, actually. But this just reminds me of eating that. All right. Palate's great. It's a big wave of spice up front. It's very prickly but balanced with sweetness. Interestingly, though, the finish kind of tapered off fast there for me. Like, the brunt of the whiskey was up front, huge wave into the mid palate, and then it kind of just falls off a little bit, and I'm left with a lingering flavor, but not necessarily like a lingering spice hanging on. Huh. I feel like my palate's a little bit wonky tonight. Probably lack of sleep. Which means the blind flight coming up is going to be... it's going to be unfortunate. Sam, just got a 10-year-old Wild Turkey single barrel blue run. Interested to see if it... They have 10-year turkey, huh? Okay. Joe. Yeah, I don't know why I remember that. I have a t-shirt from Summit Diner. Maybe that's why I remember. I bought a purple t-shirt from there. Okay, so as this sits in the glass now, things are starting to open up. It's getting, like, this Pride of Anderson County rye is getting a little woodier. Yeah. It's like brown sugar and a little bit of, like, a fresh wood character to it. Yeah, a little bit outdoorsy almost. Like a little bit of like you're outside in the summer. It's got this freshness to it, this kind of lively freshness. I feel like I'm just walking outside in the summertime. And like a really nice amount of vanilla sweetness on here. It's not dense, not heavy. It's kind of light and airy. And almost a little bit of strawberry cream or something in here. Like there's a light fruit character, just a teeny bit, but it's in a more dessert. It's presented in a more dessert-like way. It's a little more oak on the front end now. A little more like of that like turkey leather note that you get from higher aged turkey products. That hit me right away on the front of the palate, along with that spice I talked about from the first sip. It's really good whiskey. Like if you put this in the Triumph bottle, you got yourself a master's keep. Still overpriced, in my opinion. But if this was in the Triumph bottle, there'd be less complaints about the price of the Triumph. Still, though, to me, this is like $150, $175 whiskey. If I'm just thinking about like what I'm getting out of the glass. From a collector's perspective, it's really cool. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, but I just don't find like I just don't quite find, like a wow factor coming out of this one. I don't know. Mike, I'm curious if you're here, what you think about this. Like, I think it's really good. But I also want to say this, that I've never been wowed by a turkey rye. There's never been one that has blown me away. I've only ever thought, wow, these are solid. Whereas like other turkey releases, Camp Nelson F, Russell's 15, now Generations. I thought Generations last time I tasted it in that stream I did was awesome. The bourbons, I feel like I more easily get this wow factor, and I've never had a rye that's been like, holy crap. Now, it'd be cool to try like a 16, 17-year turkey rye and see what those things evolve into, because it seems to me like they age very gracefully. I don't know if that's rickhouse placement or if it's just a quality of the whiskey itself or the distillate. But all the ryes I've had have seemed to age gently as compared to like Russell's 15 just blows you away with amazing antique oak. And even some of the early Russell's 13 batches had a lot of more intense oak to them. So I don't know. Maybe this is just not. Okay, fresh cut cedar thing, Mike. The cedar's interesting. Yeah. I could see that. Because I was starting to say, like, I'm getting this fresh woodiness, but to me it's less cut and dry, like a less cut and dry cedar note as compared to maybe a Peerless double oaked, which makes sense. That one really has a strong cedar cigar box thing. And then lemon, so Mike agrees with the lemon. Savory black tea. Okay, let me see. Okay, I can see that. I'm not as sensitive to tea notes. I think I need to dial that in a little bit more. The one that I pick up more often is like an orange tea because it's a little more overt and in your face. And then green tea I will pick up sometimes in whiskeys. Like I think Year the Rye had green tea on that one. Yeah, I agree, Mike. Great whiskey, but almost impossible to justify the price. I think the highest price I could see this being, realistically knowing that they want to, that the Campari wants to get their money as well, the highest price I can see coming out of this is Master's Keep price. Put this in a Master's Keep bottle, you know? All right. And I still have over half an ounce to really sit with this. Yeah, my palate tonight is just kind of dry. I don't know if I'm dehydrated or something, but just keep that in mind as I kind of talk about some of these whiskeys. Mike, thanks for that sample, man. That's my first Pride of Anderson County experience. Sean, Cam, what should a whiskey taste like to justify 600 plus in your opinion? I think it should blow your balls off. Like King of Kentucky, the 2020 that I've had, the best barrel of that I've ever had, which I can't remember which barrel it is, but Ashton, my I can't talk. It's just, I'm stuttering. My buddy Ashton would know which barrel it is because it was his bottle. Something like that, or some old Dusties. Like I also am more sympathetic to spending that money on Dusties that legitimately don't exist anymore. But it's just got to blow you away. And I most often associate a high price tag like that with something that's at cask strength. I never want to pay that money for something that's at 100 proof or 90 proof, except for very special circumstances, you know. And frankly, I don't ever want to pay 600 for whiskey ever, but I just understand, like, this is a luxury consumable product once you get up to a certain level, and it's always going to have its upper echelon. And then it's always going to have its super premium Eagle Rare 25, which none of us can afford. And Prozac, yeah, like, I'm also tempted to buy a GTS at that price this year. I've been tempted more than once, but I'm holding off for right now. But Sean, more specifically as far as taste profile goes, to justify that price, it has to have, in my mind, a very intense oakiness to it. It has to demonstrate age clearly on the nose, clearly on the palate. The finish can't fall off at that price point. Like, if a $250 to $350 bottle kind of dies away a little fast on the finish, but it's incredibly delicious and the profile is perfect for me, that's a worthy sacrifice in my book. Understanding that I spend more money on whiskey than a lot of folks do, and I understand that. But I think that $600+ range, up to, like, I've spent up to $2,000 on a bottle. And I'll do that once every probably 2 years at this point. Maybe once a year at most. I'll splurge. The last one was GTS 08. And I'll tell you what, like, I love the GTS 08. It's hard to even drink it knowing what I paid for it. So I've ended up sharing a lot of it with my friends. Not that that's a waste of money. But as far as me spending that money on that bottle, the whole time I've had it since I think I cracked it in February, I'm just like, I could do a lot more with a lot less. And so I don't know. I agree. Eagle Rare 17 year after year is a baffling price on secondary. I don't understand it. Devin says the problem is the $600 bottles that would justify that price are at $5 to $7K. Yeah. I mean, King of Kentucky's at like 1.6 to 2.2. It kind of really depends on the year and all that stuff. And then you get your shorties and you get your 18 year, and then your Weller Millennium is, 7,500 or whatever. But I think you can do, if you're up for spending like premium price for 1 or 2 bottles a year, a couple hundred here and there, you can do a lot. You just have to be careful. Like, for instance, Rebecca Creek 16 is still one of the most underrated bottles, I feel like, that's been released in the last 5 years. Rebecca Creek 16 high proofers go for about $400. Find me another $400 bottle that has that impact besides like a Russell's 15 this year. There are not many. And so there are gems out there that you can kind of key in on. All right, let's go. Oh, I forgot about the Tanager as far as proof goes. I should have done that one probably next. Yeah. I forgot that the proof was lower on that. Where's my sample? There it is. So, Phil, thank you, Phil, for sending this my way, man. Still Austin, Tanager, cigar blend. Even though it's a cigar blend, it's not finished. I want to say this is a blend of red, white, and blue corn. Slow water reduction that Nancy does. All the cool things. I think she proofed this with Petite O, which is whiskey added. I believe that's whiskey added to water. Whiskey added to water in the barrel, then left to age, using that as proofing water, basically. So all the cool Nancy tricks. Phil, that's a great. What's up, man? That's a great way to think about it. Anything over 300 to 400 is just meant to be shared, and it's for the experience and memories with those you share it with. I like that a lot because that's the thing. It's like I have a few bottles I've spent 4 figures on, right? And every time I reach for it by myself at home when Sarah's asleep, it's like, why on God's green earth am I about to pour myself an ounce of this bottle that cost me $1,200 or something? I would rather just let somebody else try this. And at the end of the bottle, I've probably had 8 ounces, and other people have had the remaining 17. You know, it is more fun that way, though. Oh wow. Wow. Okay. Andrew says, I can attest those Blue Run turkey barrels are stupid good. Huh. Okay. Slad says, this is why you stream, so you can share it with us virtually. Yeah. You're just giving me excuses to pour expensive whiskey. That's true, though. I'll take it. Yeah, guys, please hit that like button. Thank you, Gandy Road. Phil, I don't need to pay $1,500 for an Eagle Rare 17. If I wanted, I'll pay $50 at a bar for a pour. See, the bar pour thing is hard for me with something that delicate as an Eagle Rare 17. Because if the bar is loud and noisy and you don't have the right glass, to me, it's like, I want to sit with it in silence and just kind of have an experience with it. Mike, Cam, please don't make me buy this Tanager. The Pride of Anderson County was expensive enough. Whiskey Habit. Cam, did you get to try Barrel 33 year? No, I have not tried that. Have you tried it? What do you think about it? If so. Rich says, about to move my SAS 18. Don't blame me, actually. And Joe is getting into Coda. Let me know what you think of it, Joe. Sam, kind of crazy question. Would you pay $1K for cheesy gold foil or $1.5 for King of Kentucky? Can I say neither? Just save up for an 88 CGF at like 1.6. Just buy that, because that's a sure bet. The King of Kentucky's, I'm not an expert on which barrels are good, or floors, or rick houses, or years. It's been my experience that every 2020 I've had has been outstanding. I've had the 2021 that I owned was not amazing. It was really good for a King of Kentucky, but not amazing. I've never had an 18 or 19, and I have a sample of a 22 that rocked my world, and that's a 15-year, I think. And that was from Adam Hyman, who, I'm not sure if Adam's in the chat tonight. I want to say I saw his name recently. Could have been in the Discord or something, but that sample he gave me is awesome. But I don't know, man. I mean, cheesy gold. If I was going to get a cheesy gold, I know you have your birth year thing that you want to do. I get that. But if I'm personally buying one because they don't have a 94, which is when I'm born, when I was born, I would go 88. Apollo says, picked up your double-barreled backbone rye after your YouTube post. Kicks ass. I love the dillweed note on the nose. Yeah, so I'm glad you like it. There is a little dill in there because it's a younger MGP rye, but that double barreling so early on, I think it was like 2.5 years in or something, it was double barreled. Maybe 3.5. It was in that range. It adds so much of that root beer candy note to the top of the whiskey that it kind of covers that herbal kind of quality up. I love the balance on that. Toshi, Cam, as I pour these samples for you and Matt, I obviously need to have a small pour of each. Nice, dude. Can't say what it is, but I'm enjoying myself. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait. Matt's doing a blind flight that I sent him tomorrow night, and I sent him some wacky shit. So it's gonna be fun for me to train tonight, him to train tomorrow for your flight coming. All right, what do I have in my glass? I have this Tanager. Jeez. All right, so on the nose, this is deep. It smells like the color maroon, if that makes sense. Like, it's juicy. It's like, you know what it smells like? It smells like a whiskey that has a low barrel entry proof. If you've ever had, like the Limestone Private Stock's a great example. Some Peerless actually has a low entry proof. Michter's has a low entry proof. Or if you've had Dusty's, I don't know what Still Austin goes in the barrel at. Let me see if I can find that. But it smells like a low entry proof whiskey. Still Austin entry proof. It's at 118. Okay, so a little lower than 125. Oh, look at that. My that review of mine actually did really well back in 2021 when they first had their cask strength stuff, and it's the first thing that pops up on the Google AI search. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So there's a little something nutty in here. I don't know if it's like Brazil nut. That seems maybe a little too intense. If it's like a walnut, like a walnut brown sugar cashew kind of mixture, because it's a little fatty, like that cashew fattiness. It has a very, very deep, rich caramel note to it. And I know that's so generic, but I don't associate Still Austin with caramel notes in their whiskey. It's a Texas whiskey that oftentimes has a lot of fruit coming to the forefront. Like you think about like the blue corn and the high rye, very different profiles. The blue corn, kind of this syrupy, almost berry-like thing going on. And then the high rye is kind of like this brighter pear and peach kind of summery type profile with definitely some woodiness. But yeah, this is just interesting. I'm gonna get on the palate here. It's just interesting because it has this caramel middle to it that these other ones just don't tend to have as much of. So I think it's adding depth and breadth to the whiskey and making it feel fuller, which makes it feel like that low entry proof sensation. Like you've maxed out the amount of flavor you can possibly get at this given proof, which is only 106. And it smells so full for that proof point. All right. So a little bite up front. Like a savory, what would it be? Some kind of fruit skin. It's like a little like bitter, almost savory, fleshy fruit skin thing on the front of the palate. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's got that rubbery quality that I don't like, but a little of this bite up front. And then as soon as that hits, it just explodes with a lot of the signature Still Austin fruitiness that I get. But in this case, again, the color maroon makes sense to me, and very, very juicy. I'm trying to think, is it pomegranate? Is it maybe some pomegranate notes in here? The front of the palate is the one spot that I'm like, this is interesting. Like almost like a walnut bitterness on the front end with that kind of fruit skin bite that you get to it. But right as soon as you get past that, yeah, it blossoms. So what's cool for me is that it has a little funk. It has a little Texas funk to it. But at the same time, it feels classic. I don't know. I'm just pondering this. I really like this whiskey. I just want to say that. But I think it's like a thinker. You got to sit with this whiskey and think about it. Is it worth 150? 100 million % yes, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's just different. It's so different. That like bitter thing that I'm talking about in here that's throwing me for a loop reminds me of the blue corn bottled in bond. And I think some of that blue corn is in here, right? I don't know. I know it's not finished, but there are elements of this that feel like, hang on. Because the Armagnac connection to Nancy, just hang on. I just want to smell 2 Armagnacs next to this. Yeah, totally. All right. This actually helps too, getting something else on the nose as a point of comparison. It has kind of that Armagnac-y bitterness a little bit to it. That kind of nutty, like slightly bitter thing. That kind of has that. It also has some coffee notes that I wasn't getting initially because everything was kind of overshadowing the coffee ground thing in here. But once I smelled it next to the Armagnac, it was pretty clear that I'm getting some coffee. Oh, what's up? Nancy's in here. Nancy, sorry if I missed you earlier. I think maybe this is your first message, actually. When was this? 10? So, okay, 2 minutes ago. So I didn't miss anything. So those kind of notes of nutty, fatty, rich caramel, estery, juicy things are absolutely coming from the Petito. Fattiness is a traditional characteristic of it. That's good to know, Nancy. It reminds me a little bit of that kind of Armagnac type quality, with that bite. It's funny. It's throwing me for a loop just a little bit, in a good way. Like, this is a whiskey. I'm probably gonna have to get a bottle of this. I'm probably gonna have to pay up and get a bottle of this so I can sit with it for a long time. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's really maxing out that 106. That's the other thing that's blowing me away, is how much flavor you can get out of 106 proof here. So, however you're doing that, keep doing that, Nancy. Jeez. Cool. By the way, guys, for the folks on the Still Austin pick team, when we go down there in basically less than 3 weeks, Nancy's going to be around. So I think we're going to get to say hello to Nancy in the flesh, which is going to be cool. Rizzle D, any similarities to Garrison Brothers? Not a single one. No, not at all. Let's see. The Petito helps replicate the fact that traditional cigar blend cognacs are distilled on the lees and then aged in a humid cellar, which promotes rancio. Okay. It's really good. I think this is a whiskey. This would be an unpredictable whiskey in a blind flight. And what I mean by that is, because it's only 106 proof, that could hurt it if you put it up against, monster 130 proof whiskeys or something. But at the same time, there's always that Russell's 15 effect, which is what I've started to call it, which is, it doesn't matter what the proof point is of a whiskey when you put it next to Russell's 15. You can always tell that Russell's 15 is of the utmost quality, even though it's 117.2. So if you put it next to Hazmat, it still stands out. And so I would wonder if this Tanager would be overshadowed by higher proof whiskeys and not blind well because of that, or if it would have that Russell's 15 effect no matter the proof of what goes next to it. So it's hard for me to do that single blind by myself, because I would know that the Tanager would be in the mix of whatever I would pour. But if I ended up with a blind flight at some point with this Tanager next to others, it would be kind of interesting to see how that panned out. Nancy says rancio is a walnut type of note that comes from the oxidized esters of fatty acids. Thus, those fatty, nutty kind of notes you get are very intentional. Okay. And I feel like Nancy, over the last 6 months or so, I've become a little more attuned to that in Armagnac, that note, even though I feel like it makes different appearances in different age statements of Armagnac, different styles. Like, for instance, this Beastmaster's pick, this is a 30-year Armagnac. This is darker than crap, number one. But number two, it's so strong with that rancio characteristic. And then there are others like this. How old is this Uncantada? This is 40-year-old Armagnac. But this still retains more freshness and a little less of that bitterness. Yeah, it's a little different presentation of that note, I think. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Phil, thanks for this Tanager sample, man. That would absolutely be in the conversation as like a top 10, top 15 whiskey of the year. And then again, I'd be curious to know how it would compare side by side with some of these other whiskeys. And the only disadvantage for me is the proof point if you're trying to put it next to these monster, cask strength whiskeys. Also, by the way, presentation of the Tanager, pretty cool. That's another reason to buy that bottle, huh? Let's keep it moving. What's next? I think Stagg. Yeah, we're about an hour in. I got to get to this blind flight here soon. We got 200 people in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. And please hit that like button if you have not already. Before I do the Stagg 24C, I would love to taste Bourbon Kingdom's Green River. So let me clear some glasses. I'm going to just reuse some glasses for these. These are both high-proof Green Rivers. Frank, is Tanager hitting all states? No, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's a pretty limited distribution, I would imagine. Someone else in the chat, especially a Texan, will probably have that answer for you. Okay. Look at the color on that, man. Ding dong is right. Okay. Noah, do you think Bard and Princess will reach the $10 tier? I think so, yeah. I can't imagine. There's, in total, between the two, Princess is a pretty short barrel. That one, there's only going to be, when we start the drop, there's only going to be like 75 bottles available. If that. There might be 70. Because it was like low 80s that came out of the barrel, and I've bought 3 of them. I'm going to buy a couple more, but I've got 3 of them already that I snagged at the distillery before they went to DC, because I was up there. And they're going to hold some back for breakage. I'm going to grab a few more. And so, yeah, like, as far as them holding the breakage and all this stuff, there might only be about 70 that go out. And then the Bard, there's probably going to be about 90 that go out. So 160-ish bottles that we're going to try to get through on the initial drop. I don't see 160 bottles of that stuff going between the 115 people in the top 2 tiers. Some people are going to buy both. Some people are going to buy 0. I randomly sent some samples of Bard and Princess out to different folks in the Patreon last week. So I've heard back from some folks of what they thought. Haven't heard from others. But generally speaking, pretty good feedback on those. All right. Wow. I need... It's going to be a little Green River showdown here, although it's not a competition. But I want to put my the Drums and Drams Green River pick next to the Bourbon Kingdom ones, just to get a vibe for the profile, because the proof points are really close on these. But we did notice basically 3 distinct profiles of Green River when we did our pick there between the barrels we tried. One was super nutty. One was fruit and spice driven. And then the other one was the barrel that we got, which is kind of this buttery, almost blueberry weeder, kind of soft palate drinking experience. Morgan, speaking of limited distribution, my local guy says his BTAC allotment was really light this year. He also got a 23 William LaRue randomly in the mix. I don't know how all that works in non-control states. Like for us in Ohio, I think stores always get whiskeys by the case. Like they're not getting partial cases distributed to them, at least to my knowledge. I could be wrong on that. All right, so this is the Drums and Drams Green River pick that I'm the most familiar with. It's like pancake batter and blueberries. That's exactly what it smells like to me. Little hint of nuttiness in there. All right, so then Bourbon Kingdom put out 2 picks. The first one is 132. Ours is 132.2. So let's just call that same proof. So that's their first one. And their second one, which is the short barrel called Secret Sauce, is 134.8. And that might be one of the highest Green River proofs I've ever seen. So, all right, so I got mine on the nose. Let's go to their first pick, the non-short barrel. All right, so their short barrel, their first pick, the non-short barrel, has a little more of that nutty profile up front to me. And it's a little woodier and a little spicier, like wood spice. Yeah.
but less of that, like, it doesn't have the pancake batter note that the Drums and Drams pick has. Yeah, ours has that weird, like, weedy softness to it that was kind of the off-profile thing that we picked up on when we were picking it. And back to theirs again. Yeah, this is a little more robust and a little spicier on the nose. But I would say maybe slightly less sweet and more bittersweet as a result. Woohoo! That's a big whiskey. Clip it. That's a bruiser, man. Good Lord. Damn. That hits you. Yeah, ours at that 132 was always weird for us because it drank under 132. And I think that one drinks over. So this shows kind of different profiles that you can get from these Green River barrels. Some of them are extremely spicy and intense. This one is very much that with the wood spice kind of notes to it. And now let's go on to the secret sauce. It's just funny. Like the reason I liked the Green River pick so much, number one, Karen and Wes are awesome. Two, the profiles were so varied and it made the pick, it just made it really interesting as a group to discuss what we were looking for. Dude, this short barrel smells crazy. Good God. Joe says, guy I know with a pretty good palate said Bard and Princess were equal to or slightly better than GTS 24. Look, man, I don't know who's saying all that, but I'll take it. No, I know who said that. I'm not going to say anything, you know. I just wanted to send the samples out and get some opinions out there, good or bad, and see what people thought. Oh, Joe. Drums and Drams, horseshit, sawdust, fake old fits versus Bourbon Kingdom versus ADHD. I have Matt's with me, but I don't want to put it in this lineup because I don't need to do a freaking four-way. So I got to get to his blind flight, dude. That is hilarious, though. Excuse me. God, I am belching up a I didn't eat any food today until 5 p.m. after staying up almost all night. So I've just had my body is in a tailspin going like, what are you doing to me? Oh, all right, so this short barrel, it has like, yeah. This is what's crazy about this. This is the beauty of short barrels. This is almost 135 proof, and it smells like 124 proof. It smells underproof, fully concentrated, maxed out, no wateriness to this, no ethanol that's unsupported by flavor. It's just full-bodied 100% of the way. There's molasses on here. Which is not a note you normally are going to get on Green River. There's this funky, like, antique oak kind of thing on here on the front as well. Dude, like, really thick, like, just, yeah, really thick caramel kind of. Yeah, I'm not going to keep saying more about that. And then all of those kind of berry notes that I talked about being one of the Green River profiles that we were picking up on when we did the barrel pick are on this. This is remarkable on the nose, this short barrel. Holy fucking, oh my God. That is, oh. Damn. Sick. I can't wait to send people samples of this whiskey. All right, I'm going to taste our bullshit pick after that now. Yeah. All right, that's the best Green River pick I've ever had. Hats off to those guys for whatever they had to do to get Wes and Karen to pull this barrel for them. I got to learn their ways. Because that is amazing. That is amazing. God. So good. So good. Yeah, we're not putting that in a blind with our Green River pick. Nope. We're gonna just put this off to the side. That's awesome. Frank says I get sour cantaloupe on Green River Foolproof. I get I think I said grapefruit on that. Very close. Dude, short barrels are the way. Nancy, can we will you help us find some short barrels at Still Austin when we're down there? Please. If you're still here, that is. All right, dude. I don't want to overstate this. There's something that reminds me of the funk in this. I'm not saying it smells like Heaven Hill 17. Don't get me wrong, but there's a funk aspect of this that reminds me, in theory, of this one. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, obviously that is much older whiskey, but it's maybe that like funky molasses oak thing. And tobacco. I think this Green River has a lot of tobacco is what it is. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. We got one more to do before this blind. God, I can't believe I have to do a 6-pour blind now. Oh, why did I go so deep up front? Okay. It's okay. We're only an hour and 10 in. We're not doing a giveaway or anything. We're just chilling. We got time. Thursday night. It's almost Christmas. There's no rush, right? Oh, yeah. That's... All right. Yeah, Justin, the secret sauce, the short barrel sold out fairly quickly from what I remember. But the other one lasted a little while, which makes sense. It was their first pick, I think, that they dropped. So usually those, your first probably 10 picks are going to end up going public. I mean, hell, ours still go public, I think we're 23 barrels in or something at this point. So good, Sean. Thank you. Let's do it, Caesar, man. If we could all get together on even if it's like, listen, Nancy, I'll slip you $100 bill or something. It's like, Nancy, can we get like 15 minutes over here? Just like, let's just go find a couple shorties, a couple leakers over in the corner here. Actually, Nancy, I wonder if there's a bottle of whiskey I could bring that could impress you. We can just lure you away from blending with something crazy. I don't know what it would be. Anyways, let's see. Is this the Stagg, really? Wow. This is a super dark batch of Stagg. Blanton, says Joe. Nancy, ever had Blantons? 128.9 proof, or 64.45%. Wow. Is that really? Why am I in disbelief that what I'm smelling is Stagg? Let me just clear something. Just pour a little more and make sure what I'm smelling is the same thing. It is. Crazy. All right. Oh, you know what? I never thought to check Venmo and PayPal, guys. if people were... Oh, man, Toshi. I missed... Toshi sent a freaking... I almost said 20 entries. There's no giveaway tonight, so it's just a $100 super chat tonight. Toshi, thank you, man. He says, evening, Cam. Happy holidays. Hope all's good. Pouring samples for your Merry Matt Madness blind next week. Going to be fun. Bro, thank you. Thanks for sending that. I appreciate you, man. I can't wait for the sample flight. That's going to be fun. Oh, Mr. Team Vanilla Lawrence sent me a $10 super chat as well. Thank you for all that you do and for hydrating adequately. Good thing Sean just reminded me. Hopping on a flight so won't be in chat to remind you. Hashtag Team Vanilla. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so this year, let's recap real quick on the Staggs. 24A, bright candy shop. Reminds me of batch 15. Reminds me of an E.H. Taylor barrel proof, like a batch, I think it was batch 12 that it reminds me of. It's got just those candy shop vanilla strawberry kind of notes to it. And 24B was the one that had that watermelon Jolly Rancher note sitting on the top. Underneath it, though, was nice and dark and just very approachable. Not a lot of bitterness going on in that batch, which I liked. And then eventually that watermelon Jolly Rancher note kind of rolls off as you let it sit in the glass and as you spend time with it. Now that we're on to 24C, this is just dark right off the rip. It's dark, but it's very, some of these Stagg batches I talk about breadiness and like fresh out of the oven type notes, and some of them don't have any of that. This has a ton of that, and I've been saying that about these batches more recently, so I don't know if that's just me and my palate changing or if it's that these whiskeys are all kind of having these notes, but this one feels, it feels, almost, like some kind of grapey reduction almost. It's so concentrated with those grape notes. And that kind of fresh out of the oven bakery thing. Totally not what I expected on the palate. Not at all what I expected on the palate. I thought that was going to be like really intense. This tastes like grape soda. Grape snow cone. It is, wow. I don't know if I love or hate how crushable this is. There's zero development. There's zero spice ramp on the palate. It just hits you, and it's like you're drinking flat grape soda. So the fizziness is gone. There's no, like if you drink grape soda and it's fizzing, there's development of carbonation on your palate as you swallow it. This is just all of the fizz is gone, and it just kind of rolls back evenly. You could do some serious damage. Like the flavors are top tier for me. This is the flavor profile that I want out of Stagg. It's not necessarily the development I want on the palate out of a Stagg. Travis, this is like high proof Eagle Rare. It kind of reminds me of 23C, but better, I feel like. Although maybe these flavors are more clear and obvious to me, less complex, just more down the middle. I think 23C may have even had a little more spice. I don't know. Weird. You can just like hold it on your palate for 5 seconds, 7 seconds, rinse it around, and it doesn't burn you out at all. I don't know if I love or hate that. I have to spend more time with this. The flavors are amazing. That's exactly the flavor profile I want out of Stagg. It's very simplistic though, kind of one-dimensional, but damn, it's delicious. So, this is not just me spitballing off the top of my head right now. Pay up to like $100 for this. No more than 100. If you're going to actually pay full secondary, go buy a 22A. because that one has more development to it, more complexity too. I gotta sit with that one a little bit more. Almost a little like speaking of Armagnac, almost a little Armagnac-y thing on the nose. Yeah. Okay. 24A versus 24C, says Thomas. Not tonight. I got to get onto this blind flight, and I don't want to drink any more than I have to at this point because I got 6 pours to get into. So let me reset the table quickly now. God, there are some other samples that I really wanted to get to tonight. I'm just not going to be able to. Matt sent me his Green River and his Ben Holiday. Maybe I'll drink those with him on his stream. Just not going to. I don't want to get hammered tonight. I got to drink more whiskey tomorrow, and I got to drive at like 10 in the morning. Oh, first thoughts. Yeah, I think, 24A has a more robust profile as far as spice goes, but I like the flavors of C better. So you're basically comparing preferences on drinking experience and preferences on flavor between the two because they are the complete opposite in both ways. C is dark and flatter, and kind of one-dimensional. 24A is bright, spicier, and a little more complex. So I think they're pretty much polar opposites. I don't know if Buffalo Trace is going for those kind of profiles when they blend these or not. Seemingly, they must be. For them to be as different as these 3 batches were this year, I think they're vastly different. I feel like it must be intentional. Frank, how would you rank the Stagg 24 batches? Probably BCA. From favorite to least favorite. I probably got to put B over C. Even though C's profile is like absolutely what I want. I just think I have come to, because of doing barrel picks now and seeing also, this is another part of doing barrel picks, I've not only learned myself what my preferences are, because when you do picks, you must commit to what you think the best barrel is. And there's no, like, you can't beat around the bush about it because someone's buying the barrel and they're bottling it for you, and you have to stand by what you picked. So you must commit. Whereas, like, on live streams like this, I can be a little wishy-washy about this or that. But then when the rubber, meets the road and you have to pick and you have to spend somebody else's money, like Bourbon Outfitters money, and then you have to recoup that money by selling the bottles, you better stand by what you picked. So in doing so, not only have I developed my own preferences for how to do that and what I have to value in those situations and what must trump other things, but then I've also learned on the back end, after hearing people's thoughts when they get those bottles, what they like about them and dislike about them, and learn what the community's preferences are, and then see if that fits into my preferences or if it goes against what I think, and then I have to try to reconcile that on the next barrel pick and keep learning from it. That's been a learning experience, especially right now with this Crittenden's bourbon. Mixed results on the Crittenden's bourbon, not on the rye. The rye people have loved. The bourbon mixed results, and I'm starting to understand why, and it's something that I wish I would have picked up on in the moment and had the wherewithal in the moment to figure out or to think about, maybe this is something that's going to be a little more divisive to people. So that would be my mistake to not realize that. But I'm always trying to grow and learn in this. And then to bring it back to your question, the choice of B over C this year for me is purely based on a better palate development experience, which is what I would do on a pick, as opposed to me selfishly picking a profile I like that's flatter. .23A, Sam, I thought was really good. I think 22A is the best in recent memory. I like 23C too. Who said that? Noah? I like 23C too. Joe. I listen, guys. Joe is the ultimate troll in the best way. I love Joe. Your comments tonight have been so on point. Cam's flowchart. Is this wave safe? Do I like it? Most importantly, what does Sarah like? I always love bringing picks home to her and having her try them, and just I think I'd have to go back and like I'd have to really think hard about what pick it was, where I let her try it and she's like, "What is this?" And I told her, and she's like, "You picked this?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like dagger in the heart. I want you guys to see the tops of these bottles. Matt's D, clip that, suspiciously looks a whole lot like his C. So, handwriting. Come on, Matt, you're confusing me. Yeah, Andrew, I also thought the C was... Like, I opened these up and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. What are these letters? Oh, that looks like a dark whiskey. Oh, that looks like a really dark whiskey. All right. So what I'm going to do with these cards, instead of trying to keep them underneath the glasses, because I've got 6 and the table's not that big, I'm just going to keep the cards in a stack in front of me, and I'll just kind of pull them out and show you guys as we go. Yeah, all right. So let me pull up Matt's text that he sent me. We'll try to scoot through this blind fairly quickly and see what the saturation level is like at the end. And I'm also realizing right now, Sarah is not home yet, so I got to check on her real quick. Sorry guys, one sec. Okay. All right, so there's the old test card. Looks like we're good to go. Matt has definitely heard that before, says Joe. Matt, did you guys see when Matt pulled out the cork of the Sir Davis and he goes, "Hey, Sean Paisley, does that look familiar?" It was... Oh, that was... I don't know if that was like 2 weeks ago maybe or last week. That was... I was sitting on the couch just like tears running down my face. He also had a funny line in his Advent video today, Matt did. I can't remember what it was, though, but it had me laughing out loud. Okay, I gotta pull up Matt's text now. Gosh. Matt says, theme of the flight, you're in charge. If you had to price these bottles, how much should they cost? Rank flight from highest to lowest as you assign a price to each bottle. How does your pricing compare to the actual MSRP of these bottles? Okay. So it's basically about ranking them and pricing them. Now, here's a funny thing that could happen is that maybe it's a whiskey that I really like that hits a profile that I like, but I don't feel like it's that expensive. I think it's a $50 bottle, but maybe it's my favorite of the flight. I may end up ranking a low to medium price bottle higher than a higher priced bottle based on my own price guesses. That could be something that could happen, I guess, in this flight. So I'm going to call this Porter 12, 19, 24, A, B, C, D, E, F. And I'll do my best to guess some other things about them too. So let's get on with it now. No spoilers in the chat, please. Frank, what's some of Crittenden's best finish bottles? So, Frank, I have really enjoyed the sherry finish bourbon I had. I can't remember if it was a pick or a batched product. but I like the sherry finished a lot. I thought the Mothman was really good, but it's crazy. You got to really want like a crazy finished bottle because it's got a lot going on. And a lot of them that are on the website right now, I haven't had. The persimmon wood, I like the persimmon wood. It had this wine finish and this persimmon finish. Other folks didn't like it, so I don't know if that's a divisive bottle or not. But I did like that when I had it at the pick. It was my first pour of the day, though, so I didn't have it compared to anything. So maybe that was... I'm not sure. But I think Matt's sherry finishes are pretty awesome. I really think a lot of his finishes are great. The toasted pecan is the only one that I would say definitively is not for me, but that's purely a subjective thing. It's just very intense. All right. Glass A. My mind immediately goes to one place on Glass A. I'll show you what it is. It smells buttery. And I only get this buttery note to this degree usually on a Green River product, but let me show you Glass A. Here you go. Oh, sorry, this isn't buttery. This is George Dickel. No, this is Dickel. It smells buttery still, but now I'm getting it punctuated by this Dickel thing. But it's funny that wasn't immediately obvious at first. Like, usually it would be an immediate revulsion to the whiskey. But also, if it's not George Dickel, that's going to suck. Then I'm going to put all my eggs in that basket, probably. Doesn't smell... Yeah. I'll do a quick nosing down the line with just first impressions. Dickel, which would typically mean like 104 proof and under, depending on, you know, what the bottling is. Yeah, that's Dickel. Minerality, bottom of a boot, leather, kind of nutty, buttery. But yeah, please no spoilers in the chat, guys. If I show you Elijah Craig, don't start talking about Elijah Craig or Heaven Hill or whatever. Let's go to Glass B, just get some first impressions on Glass B. A on the nose. I'm going to say on the nose. I mean, listen, this kind of smells old. I'm getting a really distinct corn note to this. I'd say $55. If I had to price that, knowing that that's not my profile, but it could be somebody else's, $55 for that. All right, Glass B. Good color on Glass B, it looks like. Oh, that's a weird whiskey. This is a weird whiskey. All right, let's see what's in this one. Here we go. Glass B. This is high proof. Could be a rye. Like, I'm getting some sharp floral aspect. It smells kind of young. God, why does that smell so familiar? All right, put this down. First impression, rye, question mark. 128 proof, question mark. Young. 5 years? These are just nose guesses. I just want to get the nose guesses out there. By the way, the first one... Okay, 5 years. And then I'm going to say, on the nose, the price I'd want to pay for Glass B. I'm kind of in the same, like, because of the proof, and I'm going to go $60 on the nose for that. So we'll see if my price, my preferred price to pay for these is going to change on the palate. So I'm going to record both nose and palate separately. Tom, I finally got like 7 deliveries today. Got to open everything later, but looking forward to the Backbones, Crittendens, You're the Right, Coda, River Roots gift shop bottle, and some BJ picks. I might not be conscious tomorrow. Nice. All right, Glass C. What is Matt sending me in this flight? Dude, what? Dude, I don't even think B is like... For a second, I was like, maybe that's MGP rye. I think that's craft. I think B is a craft rye. All right, back to C. What is this? It's almost like if chocolate could be moldy. Yeah, there's this underlying like mildew note to Glass C. I don't know if I showed Glass C. Let me get this ready here. So this has like this underlying mildew character. Still high proof. It's like milk chocolate. I mean, that is... Hang on, I gotta put this down. Compared to B, that's so high proof. It's even higher proof than B. I mean, this is a hot bitch. Wow. Unpleasant. I guess I'm supposed to guess what I want to pay for this, not what I think the actual SRP is. Wow, that's just deeply unpleasant to me on the nose. I don't know. I think it's a bourbon, but I'm not sure. I hope not all of... I hope these are not all bad. Like, I hope I'm not calling all of Matt's picks not good right now. That would be bad. I'm gonna write this. I'm gonna write some notes here. Gotta hedge my own bets against, Okay. Is 133 proof? Caesar, what'd you do? You said check your super chat. Sent you funds for one. Did you send me a super chat, bro? Oh, dude, sorry. How did I miss that? $10 may only get you one taco in Austin. Oh God, is it expensive in Austin? Excited to have you guys in my hometown, bro. I'm excited. This is gonna be a fun pick. It's just gonna be a fun trip in general. I found out, Caesar, I'm probably gonna be going to River Roots the day after I get home. 5 days in Texas, 2-barrel picks. Then River Roots Saturday, Circle City Monday, Bardstown Bourbon Company Wednesday, rehearsal Thursday. Or rehearsal Friday. I hope it's rehearsal Friday, not Thursday for me. Oh yeah, I don't start that week till Friday. Thank God, I get one down day in there. Good. Basically 5-barrel picks in 8 days. That's not great. Thank you for the super chat, bro. David, it's not an official pick at Circle City. It's an NDP and Indy. We're just kind of... Justin and I are going to go visit and check it out. And Justin already knows. I think his name's Drew at Circle City. But we're just going to go check it out. And I don't know if we're going to go through enough things to actually possibly do a barrel pick. But just kind of playing things by ear. But at the very least, it's a visit. The reason I'm going through this on the nose first is to give my, intake a little break here. Try to make some guesses and see what happens. This Glass C is wild. It smells like something about this is starting to come into focus for me, and I feel like it's something I had recently in a blind flight. That it's starting to come off more like a rye also. Like lemon. May not be as unpleasant as I thought. It might have just been such a departure from B. These are all starting to smell better. I got to go with my first impression, though. I don't want to. Glass C. The price that I would want, the price that I think it is, probably $50. No, the price I think it is, $65. All right, let's go to D. Dude, what are these whiskeys? What are these? D. This smells like very floral, very vegetal and floral. Here we go. Man, and like grandma's perfume. And it smells like broccoli. This, whatever this whiskey is, smells like broccoli. Oh, yeah, it's like green bell pepper and Brussels sprouts. Hashtag pyrazines. Wow. I don't know what the heck that's like some farm to table whiskey there. Reminds me of Frey Ranch Rye. Vegetal. What do I want to pay for that whiskey on the nose? Not a lot. $30. I want to pay for $35 on the nose is what I want to pay. What do I think it is on the nose? 70. This is rough. This is rough. Taking a few more notes. The best one out of this lineup is B. So I don't know what B was. Let me pull it back up here. This is what was in B. This is so far, this is the best whiskey in the lineup. Whatever this one is. 3, 2, 1. All right. D. Dude. Smells like vegetables. Ugh. I don't have more guesses for that. Let's just go on to D. Let's go on to E. Wow. New Riff is very good, especially the sherry finish. Dude, New Riff is pretty underrated. They just need to put out older barrel picks and higher proof, higher aged stuff. Like the 8-year, I want to get 8-year cask strength, you know? All right, glassy. This color is pretty dark. Something pleasant. Thank you. Let's go. I could take a bath in this stuff. This is fruity. This is finished. All right, let's see glassy. Here's glassy. Could be this could be Arctic Spirit actually. Very porty. Yeah. It's fresh and also dry at the same time. I can see that being like an Arctic Spirit. Could be a Starlight port finish. At the very least, I'm going to say finished. That and B are my favorites so far on the nose. Oh. All right. Okie dokie. Let's go to glass. Oh, what would I pay for this on the nose? On the nose of this, I'm between like 80 and 100. I'll say $90 for that. I would want to pay 90. What do I think it is? I think that's probably 115. Because I think when you factor in finishing, seemingly higher proof, possibly rye in that, I think, to me, price would probably be higher. All right, last but not least. What is this? Okay, let me show you Glass F. It's darker than crap. All right, here's Glass F. It's so hard. I think this is really good whiskey, and it's so hard coming off of all these other ones to figure out what this is. All right, here's F. Dude, this smells like molasses, dark chocolate, coffee. Heavy, old oak. It's intense. It's 128 to 131 proof. Like, this is intense whiskey. Smells great. I mean, that smells like King of Kentucky to me in a lot of ways, but it's just hard to tell sequencing wise off of these other ones. I think the palate will be clearer for me on this. What do I think people are going to ask for that whiskey on the nose? At least $250. Like SRP wise, at least on that. Whatever that is. What would I pay for that? At least on the nose? A lot. Whatever this is. This is that, you know. So listen, this one. This has that $600+ whiskey effect to me on the nose. Except for one thing. There's like one thing about it that I'm like, I wonder what's going on with that. But otherwise, it's really, I'm going to say $400 is what I would pay for this based on the nose. Okay. Let's freaking taste these SOBs. I said proof on that. Oh, age. I need to guess an age 15. At least. 15 year. I said 128 to 131 proof. That's probably a Kentucky bourbon. Just the way that smells. All right, let's go down the line now real quick and taste. It's so hard to judge. Again, guys, I'm just doing this off the nose, so the palate could change everything. That might be a $20 whiskey, although if it is, give me all of them. Oh, all right, glass one, or glass A. Let me remind you as we get on the line here. Okay. Oh. Not as old as I thought that was. Frank, what batch 8-year Stagg is better, 1A or 2A? I have no idea. I don't know what glass A is. 104 proof actually seems generous. I wrote 104 or under. Yeah, because that feels like water to me. Super classic, except for the fact that it's Dickel. That's the only thing that turns me off. That's low proof. I mean, that could be 80. That could be 80 to 90 proof. I don't think that's 15 years old, though. I don't think that's a Dickel 15. I think that's, I'm going to call that 90 proof. Call that 8 or 9 years. What would I pay for that bottle? I said on the nose 30. I would pay. I said I think it's probably 55. I'm going to go against what I said. I'm going to say that I would want to pay on the palate. I want to pay, 32. And I think their price is 40. I'm going to say that. All right. Let's go to a glass B. One more time. So my initial notes, rye ? Possibly craft, 128 proof. That feels like an overstatement. And it's probably because I was coming off of A, which is lower than I thought. So I probably overshot proof. I said young, possibly 5 years. And I said this is probably a $60 product. But I didn't say what I would want to pay for it on the nose. So what would I want to pay for this on the nose? 50. Okay, let's remind you what's in this and take a sip. Oh, definitely craft. Probably a bourbon. Good oak to this, actually, like probably a decent age. I said 5 years. This could be actually 6 or 7. Proof, oh, grassy, very grassy. Tastes like soil and freshly cut grass on the finish. Proof is like more 110. But good fruit notes to this too. As you continue to sip it, it improves, it gets better. Let's say 108 proof. 108. Bourbon. Craft. I'm going to call this 6 years, not 5. What do I want to pay for that? What I want to pay is $30. What do I think is being asked of that? I'm going to stick with my nose guess. I'm going to say 60 is probably what's being asked for that, if not more. You know what? I'm going to go up. Given that profile, 65. I think they're asking for that. All right, 175 people in here. We're deep in a blind flight now, guys. So if you're tuning in, you're like, what's going on? Why is he turning his head and showing note cards? Doing a blind flight. I'm showing you what I've got before I find out at the end of this. I'm ranking these by favorite to least favorite, guessing some stats, but most importantly, I'm trying to put a price on these bottles. What I want to pay is the main goal, but then I'm also going to try to guess what the actual SRP of this bottle is. And maybe if I think any of these have secondary value, what that would be too. All right, let's get some water. No sound? Somebody say no sound. Can you guys hear me? Hello. I got lots of sounds this live, man. Okay, good. Cool. Jason P. Sorry, I don't know what's going on, man. Oh, says, yeah, it was me. Don't do that to me. All right, on to C. Now, this is the one that I thought really, truly was high proof. Man, what is this? This is like that chocolate wafer thing and lemon. Dude, that is, I don't know. I said 133 proof. Remind you what this is while I take a sip of it. All right. I said, what did I say on the price here? I crossed a bunch of stuff out. I think I'm saying that I believe this is a $65 SRP, and I didn't write what I wanted to pay for it on the nose. So let me write what I want to pay for it on the nose. 40 bucks. I want to. Okay, let me take a sip now. Here we go. Glass C. Oh. Is that as bad as I think it is? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being shocked by new flavors because of sequencing. Maybe that's not as bad as I think it is. I don't think that's 133 proof, though, on the palate. It's just really... and maybe that's because I think that's a rye characteristic maybe that I'm trying to ascribe to proof, perhaps. Definitely hotter than the last one. 120. I'm going to say 120. But as I sip that gets better. And I think it's just like, listen, if I'm 100% sure glass A is Dickel or a Dickel product in a blend of some sort. Coming off of that and going to some kind of crafty thing in B and then going to whatever the hell C is, I need to not give such strong reactions because I could be really affected by sequencing in this, you know? Yeah, because C feels familiar, man. It's so much lemon. But it's young, you know? I think that's a 5-year rye at 120 proof. What do I want to pay for that on the palate? I said 40 on the nose. I'll go up a little bit on the palate. I'll go to 48 on the palate. I could see that. What do I think is being asked of this? I'm going to stick with 75, actually. Excuse me, 65. I'm going to stick with that for this. That's probably SRP. Let's go to D. As far as ranking so far, I think this is kind of easy. I prefer B, C, A. Well, I might have to go C, B, A. All right. Let's go to glass D. We'll figure it out. I know what my first place is just based on the nose. Oh, it's Russell's 15. Okay. All right, on to D. Here we go. On D, I said farm to table, 6-year vegetal rye. Bro. Possibly Frey Ranch. I said I want to pay 35 max. I think it's probably 70. All right, here you go. Here's D again. Oh, God. I don't even want to drink this. No, it's not even nearly as bad as I thought on the palate. The nose is just so vegetal that I don't like it. The palate is not bad at all. It's funny to isolate nose and palate on these because this is very disconnected. Why did it come off so strongly vegetal? I think the last time I got this was on a Tumblin' Dice rye pick. So yeah, I might be changing some things around here. I think they are probably asking $70 for that. What did I say on the nose? $70. Okay. And I would pay more for that. I would pay $55 for that. I'm undershooting all of these though because I don't love them. As far as what I think I would pay and what I think they're asking for. That might be a Tumblin' Dice. This might be an MGP thing. Seven or 8 year. Call it 7 year. Proof. Lower on that. Mm-hmm. Call this proof 109. Let's move on. We got 2 more. Almost done. Okay. Glass E. I said this is probably finished. I can pick these up. Oh my gosh. All right, Glass E, probably finished, 110 proof, 6 year, possible rye, possible port finish. Said I wanted to pay 90 on the nose. Okay. Oh, right. I thought it might be 115 SRP, and I thought this reminded me of Arctic Spirit. I mean, that's pretty close to what, I mean, that's pretty much it for all of those guesses. Do I think it's actually Arctic Spirit? I'm starting to get away from that guess, but it doesn't matter. I think a lot of the stats are very close. I gotta do one more sip of this. That's what this is. Put this down early so I can get onto it. This has this buttercream note that I got on Arctic Spirit along with the finishing like port notes, which is why I'm like, that's why that popped into my head, because it's not just port. It's also this buttercream thing that I got from that release. Now, if it's not Arctic Spirit, then I'm trying to think about what else would have those kinds of notes, that complexity between the two. Good proof. But if that's 110 and I guess 109 on the last one, then the last one is wrong. God, the last one, the nose is so bad. And it drinks way under. I think my proof is whacked out. All right, I'm going to just change around some guesses. I think this is probably... My proof guesses are gonna be wrong tonight, I think. I said 109 on the vegetal rye. And I said 108 on B, which I thought was a crafty bourbon. That's higher. The bourbon, I'll call that 104. I'm going to call that rye 110. I'm going to call this next rye 118. All right, one more. That might be that might be the Heaven Hill grain to glass rye. D. That's an interesting guess. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Glass F. Smells amazing. Last pour, and then I'm gonna rank these, and we're gonna get on. I have my paper just looks like utter chaos right now with just guesses and scribbles out and you know, notes and blah blah blah. A 6 pour blind is a lot. Matt, I'm going to figure this all out, though. And you're going down next week when we go head-to-head. All right, Glass F. Look at the color. The color is a dead giveaway that this is something of in a different league than these others. All right, here we let me move the mic. All right, Glass F. Wow. Smells so good. Yeah. Yep. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing whiskey. God, dude, that's so on the nose, I was like, man, that could be King of Kentucky. There's no way that's King of Kentucky on the palate. It's too low proof. That could be Russell's 15, or that could be a whiskey produced in the 1980s. Like, those are the two options. I think it's Russell's 15. It's amazing. And what did I say on the nose? I said, I think it's $250 SRP, and I would pay $400, and I will stand by that on the palate. I said 128 to 131 proof on the nose. I think all my guesses on the nose proof-wise were wacky. I said 15-year Kentucky bourbon. That's funny, because I was really in my head thinking King of Kentucky, but 15-year Russell's 15 tracks. I'm going to go with that guess. So, that's my favorite. Second favorite, E. Third favorite is just a biatch and a half to figure out. It's either C or B. Jesus, man. You know what? This is painful, man. Some of these are painful. D to me feels like a Kentucky rye. And I've been between MGP, I've been between vegetal, crafty, like Frey Ranch. I think that's a Kentucky rye, and that's something I had in my head this whole time. All right. My last place is D. Even though the palate surpassed the nose, my last place is D. I'm going to make sure I'm following Matt's rules here. Okay. Rank flight from highest to lowest as you assign a price to each bottle. All right. So last place is D. I ended up saying final answer. I would pay $55 for this, and I think it's a $70 bottle. I think I'm undershooting the SRP. So if I had to guess on D, I think this is Heaven Hill grain to glass. I could see it being Frey Ranch. I could see it being a tumbling dice pick. Here we go. What is it? Wow. No shit, dude. Wow. Okay. Little Book Chapter 7? That was one with the applewood smoked something in there, right? Dude, that is so vegetal on the nose. Whoa. And I said the nose, I said the palate was better than the nose, but SRP is 150. I said I thought it was 70, and I would pay 55. Oh, that is that's a wacky whiskey, huh? Okay. Well, yo. Next, Glass A. Said it's 8 to 9 year Dickel, 90 proof. Which means it's either Dickel bourbon or maybe like a Dickel store pick. It's not Dickel bourbon. It's a 9-year Dickel. That's my guess. I don't know what the proofs are, but I said it's around 90 proof. I ended up saying on the palate, it's a $40 bottle, and I would pay $32. On the nose, I said it's a $55, and I'd pay $40. So the palate actually fell flat to the nose for me on this. So let's see what it is. This is Glass A. It's Rare Stash. That is just not good. That's got to be Dickel then, right? I thought Rare Stash was North Carolina distillate. 91 proof. I said 90. I don't know the age. I said 8 to 9 year. Listen, if there's not Dickel in that, then we got a problem. Is that right? We'll keep going. Matt, are you in here yet? I know he has bowling league tonight, but he was going to jump in if he could. Hang on one sec. Hey. I'm going to have Sarah forward me the email Matt sent her with the answers, because, like... Oh, Rare Stash 1 and 2 have Dickel, I believe. Okay. Then that explains it. I thought it was all North Carolina, and I'm like, well, I don't think North Carolina distillate tastes exactly like George Dickel, in which case maybe something got mixed up here, but I think we're still good. Next is Glass B in 4th place. I think... I was like, craft rye, no craft bourbon. I started at 128 proof, ended at 104 after passing 108 at some point. I said it's a 6-year craft bourbon at 104 proof. I want to pay 30 for it, and I think it costs 65. And on the nose, I would pay more for it on the nose. I would have paid 50 on the nose, but the palate got grassy. That's what it was. All right, so Glass B, no clue what this would be. What? Wow, my initial proof guess was better. This is 131 proof, and I said it was 128 up front. It's Doc Holliday 8-year bourbon. Where's that from? Anybody know where that's from? It's craft. It's got to be craft. MSRP is $134. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. What? At the end, I said I would pay $30 for this. And I said I thought it was a $65 bottle. Oh, this is Missouri? Yeah, no way. I don't know where that's from, but... come on. No. You can get that from 5 Year Craft Whiskey somewhere else, and you can pay $50 for it, you know? All right, let's get on to some real ones. Glass C, I think, is our next one. Third place. First word was unpleasant, and then rye, and then Kentucky rye. I bounced. No, sorry, this is not the Kentucky rye. Excuse me. That was D. This one feels familiar for some reason. I ended up landing on 120 proof. My proof guess is kind of hit or miss right now. I initially said 133 proof. That's probably closer to accurate because I thought this was hotter than B. So it's probably actually over. It's probably more like 135 proof. I said I'd pay 48, and I think it's 65. On the nose, I said I think it's 65. I'd pay 40, so I went up on the palate on how much I'd pay. It got better as I sipped it. What is it? All right. Lead Slinger's 10-year. 117 proof. My final guess was 120. I'll take that, but it's $120 SRP. I said that I thought the SRP was 65. Dude, what are we doing? These whiskeys are wild. It smells like a lemon bar, but bad. And chocolate wafers. I said I'd pay 48. I thought it was a rye. It's a bourbon. It's 10 years old. I did not write it. I didn't write an age. The palate is better than the nose. Oh, Rich, maybe Doc Holliday. If you're saying it's possibly Washington, maybe it's Woodinville. Sean, maybe you're way off on pricing, unfortunately. But I'm actually under. I'm going against the criticisms of me is that I would pay more for things. And in this case, I'm way under pricing on all these things because but also like I don't know how you guys would rate these whiskeys. The ones I've tasted so far, these first four, are not good whiskeys. I want nothing to do with them. I would never buy these bottles. So I'm underpricing them. Even though I'm trying to do my price, and I'm even trying to guess the SRP, and I'm still low on the SRP by a lot. All right. Second place, Glass E. If this is Arctic Spirit, that's going to be cool. I said port finished rye, started at 110, ended at 118. I bet this is Arctic Spirit. I should have stayed at 110, but I don't know. I really don't know. I said nose feels like a $90 bottle. I thought it was 115. I never changed those guesses, so I think maybe I stuck with them, or maybe I forgot. Let's see what E is. Oh, what? Oh, I smell it now. It's that yeast note in the Woodford that's throwing me off. Wow, that is not port finished at all. And I think it's just because it's an actual decent bourbon compared to these other ones. This is 121.2 proof 2024 Woodford batch. 150 SRP. I said SRP was probably 115, and I would pay 90. And that tracks. My experience with Woodford batch proof is that it's way overpriced. I can't believe this felt so finished to me. Wow, I mean, it literally, hang on. I got to get Arctic Spirit over here. Phil, I'm guessing both right now. I'm guessing both. So let me taste this. All right, now, okay. I get the port now. But in comparison to these other ones, which are very anemic whiskeys that lack body to them on the nose and on the palate too, once you go to Glass E, it stands out because it has such fullness to it. There you go. I'm glad I moved the proof up because I ended up saying 118. It's 121. Age, I said 6 years. I did say maybe it was a rye. And I think that has a lot to do with the spice and the fact that I thought it was spicy and also finished. And if it retains spice on a whiskey that you believe is finished, then you would have to imagine that it's a rye, because ryes will retain that spice a little bit more underneath the finishing barrel. SRP, I didn't guess the SRP correctly, but I guessed what I've always said I want to pay for this whiskey, you know? So I'll stick with that. F has got to be Russell's 15. What? Holy shit. Matt sent me this? Holy shit. Oh my God, I got to save this sample. Matt, you motherfucker, dude. Dude, oh my God. I knew this felt weird. Okay. All right. This is why I was bouncing between them. Dude. All right. This is 20-year Heaven Hill, guys. I am pretty darn certain that these Watch Hill barrels that they've got, and then Oakley Spirits got a couple of these also. I'm pretty sure these 20-year barrels that are floating around right now, these are Heaven Hill barrels, and they are unbelievably expensive from the brokers. I heard a price the other day that I can't share with you guys for these barrels that are the prices that the distilleries are paying to acquire them, and it would make your jaw hit the floor how much these barrels are. So when you learn the price of the barrels and you learn the SRP of the bottle, you're much more forgiving about the fact that this is $900, because the base price of this whiskey is incredibly high. That is insane whiskey. And I hedged low on this on purpose and maybe I shouldn't have, because in the beginning I thought this was King Kentucky, and I've paid $1,600 for a King Kentucky. And then part of me thought at the end, well, it really feels like Russell's 15, but there was something about it that I kept bouncing around in my head about antique oak and all this stuff. But I went full in on Russell's 15, understandably. That is incredible whiskey. Now the problem is SRP is $900. I would most likely buy a bottle of this at SRP. I'm going to be real with you. And again, I will overpay for whiskey. But secondary on that bottle right now is like almost $3,000, and there's no way that's a $3,000 bottle. It's just no. I need to put that next to Russell's 15 and Heaven Hill 17, a couple other things, and I'm so glad that I didn't drink all of this sample so I can actually do that. But also, let's just talk about the fact that it's pretty bonkers that there's 20-year Heaven Hill, even if there's only a few barrels floating around right now, or there were those floating around on the market. But that is a purely special whiskey. I didn't know Matt had that bottle, or that if he got a sample maybe or something. I had no idea he had that. That is pretty crazy. Wow. That's like fell off the truck kind of whiskey, you know? God, man. Is Heaven Hill 20 worth it? No, it's corn whiskey. It's worth about $175 in my opinion. It's a good bottle, but it's not worth even SRP for that. Dustin says, no way that's better than 3 bottles of Russell's 15. Well, let's find out right now. Dude, it's a funky mofo. All right, final thing we're going to do tonight. I can afford like that much. I got to keep half an ounce of this. So here's what we're going to do tonight. Yeah, I got enough glasses. All right. Let's end the night with a little bang. That's what she said. Okie dokie. Justin, you shut your mouth. All right. I want to have an equal amount in each of these glasses. So what we have here, it's fine. We have on your right is the Watch Hill Proper 20 year at 124 proof. In the middle is Heaven Hill 17 at 118.2 proof. And on your left is Russell's 15 at 117.2. So 117.2, 118.2, 124. So the Watch Hill has a proof advantage. Let's see what these are like. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What is happening? Is there a vastly different amount? Okay, there, I actually... So if you... When you have very small amounts of whiskey in a glass, things are much more sensitive. Like, as far as... You need to have the exact same amount in each glass at these very low levels. Once you get to, like, 1 ounce in the glass, 1 to 1.25 ounces, it's all the same at that point. But things can come off much stronger on the nose. Jesus, man. Depending on the fill levels. So I have blinded Russell's 15 and Heaven Hill 17, and Heaven Hill 17 wiped the floor with Russell's 15, which I thought actually was kind of weird that it was so definitive, but it was. Matt, you mofo, dude. Bro, call me on the phone. Are you driving right now? Or do you have like family in the car? I know like you were at the bowling league or whatever, but bro, call me on the phone. What's going on right now? All right. So on the nose, Watch Hill, insane. In the middle, Heaven Hill 17, good. But when you compare it to the Watch Hill, not close. Yeah. And then Russell's 15, which is a little more of this velvety kind of fruitier sensation. Let's put it next to the Watch Hill. I mean, the Russell's weirdly competes more with the Watch Hill than the Heaven Hill 17. And I've had Heaven Hill 17 over Russell's 15 before, and they're side by side. But the Watch Hill is so much richer and more intense and oakier at the higher proof and more dusty smelling. Like, remember I said in the blind flight, the Watch Hill is either I don't know what I said. It was either I said produced in the 1980s or something crazy high aged right now, something like that. But no, man. This Watch Hill spanks the Heaven Hill 17 and the Russell's 15 on the nose. Russell's 15 competes more with it, though, stylistically, weirdly enough. All right, let's taste Russell's 15 first. So good. Man, okay. Russell's 15. Now Heaven Hill 17. And I'll stand by the fact that I think I like Heaven Hill 17 a little bit more on the palate, but right now on the nose, Russell's 15 is showing better than Heaven Hill 17. I don't know. That goes against what I've experienced before, but all right. Now Watch Hill Proper 20. This is bourbon number 2, it says. Oh, dude. What is happening in my nose? Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's the stuff. That's the best. Oh my God, man. Oh my God. So, I don't know if that's a single barrel. I think it is a single barrel. I think these are single barrels, but I mean, this is probably the best whiskey I've tasted this year, is the Watch Hill. It says batch 2. Sarah wrote batch 2. I don't know what Matt actually wrote in the email. Let me check the email. That's the best whiskey I've had all year. Yeah. Here we go. Cam's flight key. Matt says batch number 2. Dude, that's the best whiskey I have had in 2024. If that's a single barrel, then, you know, that sucks because it's not replicable. Morgan says pour some VVS. The VVS is going to get murdered by that. It's so funny to put that. Look, that's Heaven Hill 17. I love that pour. It feels anemic right now compared to this Watch Hill. What's funny is putting this Watch Hill and this flight of these other whiskeys that are not very good at the end. It makes your palate wacky. It makes you second guess things. Dude. Oh my God, that's good. I would buy that at SRP. After doing this comparison and knowing where this stands with some of my favorite whiskeys that I have here, I would buy 3 of those. I'd buy a freaking case. I mean, that is so good. What's happening? All right. Well, what an end to the night. Watch Hill Proper 20-year batch 2 blows me away. Excuse me. All right. Amazing stuff. Amazing. I wish I could get a bottle of that. I'm sure they're all, I don't know like how that was released or whatever. I'm sure they're all gone. I would do bad things to purchase one of those at $900. There's no way I can afford to buy one on secondary at whatever they are, like $2,700. There's just no way, but that's awesome whiskey. So, all right. Well, thanks guys for being here. Hit that like button on your way out. More content on the way soon. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and check out the Patreon. Little restructuring going on in the Patreon right now as far as barrel pick drops go. And that's just because Patreon laid a little smackdown on us. So we're going to have to work around that. And that's okay. We're still going to use Patreon for the time being. And there'll be a little different system for getting barrel pick information out via email. But that's totally okay. So if you're interested, jump in the Patreon. Our next barrel pick drops are January 10th with 2 Buffalo Turkey barrels, 15 and 16 year. Expensive, so if you want to wait and hold out for the next drops after that, January 31st, we're going to be releasing some short barrel whiskeys from Georgia. So you might wait to subscribe to the Patreon till then if you're just in it for the barrel picks. But appreciate you being here. Thank you for a great night. And I'm completely shocked at this Watch Hill 20-year. If it's truly a batch that has more than, like, let's say 500 bottles, then that is my favorite whiskey of the year as far as, like, batched products go. But as far as anything I've tasted that's been released this year, that is the best whiskey I've tasted this year. So there you go. Jeremy, are you live next week? I don't know yet. I'm not sure. If I'm not on Thursday, like, I'm going to try to be on Friday because Matt and I are supposed to do this flight from Toshi. And we'll just see how shipping goes from Toshi to Matt because sometimes shipping is delayed during the holidays, and I got to figure out our holiday plans with Sarah's family. We'll just have to figure all this out. But cheers, guys. And hope you have a very Merry Christmas next week. All right. See you soon.